Security and Situational Awareness, National Preparedness Month. Well, for starters, don't be these guys. There's a lot of emphasis on security in the preparedness world. I think a lot of it has to do with everybody's afraid of something. I think you'd be better off literally sitting down and writing out, deeply contemplating, what do I love? What is worth protecting? What is worth fighting for? What is worth dying for? What is not worth fighting for? What is not worth dying for? I get a lot of questions like, Bear, can you do a video on how to secure homesteads against zombies? How do I build a fighting position? Where should my LP/OP be? What's the best weapon for SHTF? And I think a lot of people think about that as being security. And yet, how many times do I have to say, you don't want to be getting into gunfights, period, let alone in end times, when there's no hospitals, no emergency services, no antibiotics, no running water. Like, why did they say back in the day, when somebody got sick or injured, boil water, right? Start boiling water. Start tearing pieces of cloth into strips, right, to make bandages. Infection, man. What are your plans to mitigate infection? Because that's infection and disease is 1/3 of casualties. My wife's sweatpants making a cameo. Look at the size of this ram.
Oh, sorry. I thought there was.
You're good.
Thought I was hiding.
How old is Jose Jr.?
4 years old.
No, not Jose, Jr.
Oh, year and a half.
Year and a half. That's an 18-month-old ram right there in the front, and his daddy's next to him, who's 4. That's a big ram. So there's some security. What kind of security am I looking at here? Food security? Peace of mind? Everybody wants to focus on gunfights and anti-gunfights. How about like mental security? Peace of mind. You see a lot with the thin blue line crowd and Second Amendment crowd and current and prior service members and public safety, hypervigilance. Vigilance is good. Hypervigilance will burn you out. Is there the potential for threats everywhere? Yes, unfortunately, in the society we live in. Are there actually threats everywhere? No, there's not. So at some point you got to know, when can I dial that back? When can I get out of condition red and get into orange or even yellow? Like, yellow's good. Yellow's good. I've got a pistol and a reload and a tourniquet and a flashlight and a knife and a lighter in my pockets right now, EDC, right? Because those few things solve a lot of problems and a lot of potential problems. I don't have a belt fed laid across my lap right now as I'm sitting on the ground looking at sheep. Hypervigilance will burn you out. And so you got to know the difference between an actual and a perceived threat. It's good to know where the exits are in the building. Where's the fire escape? How do I get out of this place if something goes wrong? Wargaming. What would I do if somebody walked in through that front door brandishing a weapon and screaming right now? Yeah, that's good to know. Do I want to sit certain places in the restaurant? Yeah, absolutely. Are there other places I just don't want to sit? 100%, absolutely. Do I let it rob me of my joy if the only place to sit is not a good option tactically in the restaurant? No. I don't like it. It's less than ideal. But then it gets back to probability versus possibility. It's possible that some maniac walks in here and starts shooting. The probability of that is lower here than elsewhere. It's not zero, but it's lower here than elsewhere. Note in the back over here, behind this one hoop house, the second hoop house that we built for the cows 3 years ago.
With
The hoop house for the cows.
I don't know. Time is so weird.
It is.
It's been 2, maybe
It
3 years.
it was either 2 weeks ago or 9 years ago, and the internet said that'll never work. Well, internet, there it is. It works. So there's some security too, right? Knowing versus thinking. Mental security. My brother Saw loves to say a man with experience is not at the mercy of a man with an opinion, or something to that effect. Knowing is way better than thinking. The thinking's better than supposing. Big Rams. Big Rams.
We still got a ton of Rams.
We still got a ton of Rams. Oh no, freezer camp. But there's security even in this, and being able to sit crisscross applesauce on the dirt, look at my sheep and chickens and turkeys and cows, and not have to worry about where's my meal going to come from if the world ends and I can't go to the grocery store anymore. My front yard, the freezer, the woods, the fridge, the prepper pantry, the freeze dryer, the dehydrator, the solar oven, the wood-fired grill, the gas grill, the charcoal grill, right? Redundancies. I think a lot of times, like I said, man, preppers focus on security, meaning how do I make sure that people don't find out where I'm at and come here and kill me and take my stuff. And yeah, you should think about that, but it should never rob you of your joy. I think you should think more about, how do I have mental, emotional, spiritual security? Is it possible for me to ruin your life and never fire a shot? Absolutely. I could psyop you into a tizzy and let you take care of yourself. Boom, I win. My stuff's yours now. But I can't do that if you don't let me. Right? That goes back to exercising your no muscle. What was it? Sun Tzu. I don't even think it was Sun Tzu. It might have been Sun Tzu, but he who wins the battle without firing a shot is a shart. Definitely don't fire a shart. He who wins the battle without firing a shot is the true master. There's something to that. So, your homework today, audit your security systems, and not your cameras and your alarms and your fighting positions and your LPOPs and all your firearms and your radios and your geospatial data. Your mental, emotional, spiritual, personally physical security systems. I'm not as big as I was, I'm not as strong as I was, I'm not as fast as I was, but I can still use this paw and put you in the dirt with it. That's good to know, right? It's good to know. I don't worry about what happens when the grocery store goes away or when they won't let me buy and sell, because here comes breakfast, lunch, and dinner right here. And this isn't a prepper flex, it's just a fact. But you don't understand, Bear. I live in the city, I live in the suburbs. Cool, we used to too. And we traded the perceived security of living in that Babylonian hellhole for the actual security of living out here and taking personal responsibility. Security. National Preparedness Month. Bless y'all. Shalom.